Welcome to Apex. My name is Jacob. This is Shawnee, and in this video I'm going to talk about a disease that is becoming increasingly prevalent in dogs, and that is copper storage disease or copper toxicity. And it not only applies to dogs, but it applies to us as well. Give me that frisbee. I'm gonna get them feet. Bam, bam, bam. Bam. I can't throw it if you won't let me have it. I can't throw it if you want me. Oh, I got it now. You ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bam! Get that one. All right, so copper storage disease is becoming very, very prevalent in dogs. And the mainstream would like you to believe that it's a genetic disorder. And in some cases, I would say that it probably is, but there's another big reason why copper storage disease is becoming a huge problem and why copper toxicity is becoming a problem with dogs in general. And that's because food manufacturers are putting way too much copper in kibble. So if you're feeding your dog kibble, basically what happens is that the food is superheated numerous times and all the nutrients are basically stripped out of it. You know, it's mostly high-processed carbohydrates, which is really bad to begin with, but they superheat it and all the nutrients get stripped out, so then they have to fortify it with artificial nutrients, artificial vitamins and minerals. And those artificial vitamins and minerals are synthetic, and most of them come from China. So the quality is very, very poor, and the bioavailability of those vitamins and minerals, it can vary. Some of them can be very high, some of them can be very low, but more or less what is going to happen is it goes into your dog and some of that stuff gets stored in excess amounts and some of it just gets excreted and isn't even used. And that can become very problematic for numerous reasons. Number one, because it can lead to things like copper toxicity, because they've been increasing the amount of copper in dog food year after year after year for whatever reason. So now commercial dog food has many more times the amount of copper in it than it did just 10 years ago. And that can lead to things like copper storage disease. So in 2021, Cornell University actually did a study on dogs, and they tested dogs' livers to see how much copper was in the liver. And in that study, they found that the amount of copper in dogs' livers had more than doubled in the last 13 years. And over 58% of the livers that they biopsied actually had inflammatory liver disease. All right, so commercial dog food is absolutely toxic. That's just one more reason why you don't want to be giving that stuff to your dog. It's just not good for your dog. There's so much bad stuff in commercial dog food. There's so much crap that your dog doesn't need. It's hyper-processed garbage, basically, and it has synthetic vitamins and minerals that are poised to destroy your dog's health, which is not a good thing. But beyond that, another really bad thing is that, you know, everybody's kind of catching on to liver because liver is a big trend right now. Everybody understands how beneficial liver can be to not only your health, but to your dog's health. So now they have liver treats, and a lot of the dog foods have liver and stuff in there. And if you're feeding a raw diet, chances are you're probably including liver in your dog's diet. And that's great, don't get me wrong, but there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. And when it comes to liver, that is one of those things, because when you're feeding liver, liver is extremely high in copper, okay? And I can't help but think that that's probably another big reason why dogs have copper toxicity. And based on the research I've done and a lot of the reading and stuff I've done on this topic, that's what I've been finding. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boost. So when it comes to liver, secreting organs should only make up about 2% of your dog's diet. All right, and that is a very small amount. So if you think about that, I mean, if, like my dog, for example, she's about 56 pounds. And when I put liver in her diet, which I don't do very often because she actually does get very sick if I give her too much liver. But when I do give her liver, it's very, very small amounts because her food on average is about 28 to 30 ounces of food. And even though the threshold for secreting organs is supposed to be about 2% of the diet, I don't include it every day because when I think about this, I think about what my dog would be eating if she was out in nature, if she was running around out in the woods like coyotes and wolves. And when you really think about that, they wouldn't be eating liver every single day for every single meal. They wouldn't be eating organs every single day, every single meal. There's no such thing as daily balance in nature. Balance happens over a period of time. If my dog was out in the wild with a pack, she would be consuming animals with that pack. So that means, you know, one of the times she might get some liver, one of the times she might get some other organs, one of the times she might just get meat, and sometimes she might not eat at all. So she's not going to be consuming liver or organs for every single meal. And even when she does, she would be sharing that with the entire pack. So the amount she'd be getting is very, very small. So the way I like to structure my dog's meal is I like to balance it throughout the course of a week. So sometimes I'll give her just muscular organs and muscular meat. Other times I might throw secreting organs in there and raw meaty bones, but I don't include that every single meal, every single day. Because like I said, balance happens over a period of time. If you include organs every single day, I think there's just more of a risk of running into problems and your dog developing something like copper toxicity, which is not something you want because it can lead to inflammation of the liver and it can be potentially fatal. And if your dog is suffering from that, or you think your dog might be getting too much liver, a telltale sign, because I've actually dealt with this, early on in my carnivore journey, I was feeding my dog liver every single meal and she got very, very sick. So one of the things you can look out for is lethargy. If they start vomiting or drooling or get excessive thirst, if they have extreme diarrhea, that's another big indicator. If they have jaundice of the skin or jaundice of the eyes, in other words, yellowing of the skin or eyes, all those things can be indicators. So keep an eye on your dog. If you're feeding your dog organs, specifically liver, because it is very high in copper, just make sure you're not including too much. Because even with people, I've gone through this myself where if I eat too much liver, it makes me nauseated. We're not really meant to have liver and organs every single meal, and it can become problematic. You know, a lot of people, when they think about liver, they think about vitamin A toxicity, which is something that is very, very rare and probably will not occur. But a lot of people leave out the fact that liver is extremely high in copper, and that's probably what's going to cause the most problems for people. You can actually run into food aversions where it really just turns you off. You can get things like candida because you get essentially copper toxicity, which is heavy metal toxicity, and that can lead to a lot of really bad things. It can lead to excessive iron buildup in the body. It can lead to problems with vitamin D. That's going to lead to heart palpitations. It's going to lead to muscle cramps. It's going to lead to lethargy and just a lot of problems that you don't want to deal with. So just something to think about, something that's becoming more and more prevalent. Don't fall into this trap thinking that liver is beneficial for your dog for every single meal, because it's not. And if you're feeding your dog commercial hyper-processed kibble, that's one of the worst things you can feed your dog. And one of the best things you can do for your dog is get your dog off that as soon as possible. And if you need a step-by-step guide for exactly how to transition your dog from kibble to an all-meat carnivore diet, click on this video right here.